I thought I'd tell you a story about when I was younger. You see, when I was a little kid growing up in the 60s, things were a lot different than they are now. Parenting was a lot different than it is now. But I was about probably 6 years old, maybe seven, and my birthday was coming up, and my parents asked me, "What do you want for your birthday?" I told them I want an easy bake oven. You can imagine a little boy in the 60s asking for an easy bake oven for his birthday. It didn't go over very well. So my dad got really angry at me. And the more he asked me about it, the more angry he got. He really blew up. And he asked me, he said, "You want an easy bake oven? You're a boy. Boys don't get easy bake ovens." And I told him that's what I wanted. And he asked me if I was insert a 60s slur for a gay man here. I told him I didn't know what that was. He said, "Do you want to marry a man?" And I said I didn't want to marry anybody. I just wanted an easy bake oven. And he just kept getting angry. Just kept yelling at me. This went on, it seemed like for really, really hours, but it really wasn't, I'm sure. It just seemed like that to a little kid. Anyhow, finally he tells me, "You're not getting an easy bake oven. Boys don't get easy bake ovens. Now, tell me what you want for your birthday. If you say easy bake oven, you get nothing. Now tell me the truth. What do you want?" Now I got really confused. And this is, what is this now? 55 years later? I remember being really confused because he told me if I said what I wanted, then I was getting nothing. And I needed to tell him the truth. It didn't make any sense. So I just told him I want an easy bake oven. And he just went off. It did not go well. Anyhow, my parents decided that the best way to deal with the situation was there was a little girl across the street, one of my friends, who had just gotten an easy bake oven for her birthday. And they borrowed the oven from her, and they decided that they were going to have me use it. That would convince me I wouldn't like it. So they brought it over, and we mixed up a cake. We mixed up a cake. I think it was chocolate. Yeah, it was chocolate. Mixed up a chocolate cake and got it all ready, put it in. I set the timer, and I was all excited. I went off to go play, and they're like, no, you're not going anywhere." I'm like, "Well, what do I do? Do I need to do something else?" They said, "Yeah, you have to sit here and watch it." I'm like, "Watch it? Why do I have to watch the oven? It's the timer set." And I thought I would do just like Mom and set the timer and do other things, go play. And they're like, "No, you have to make sure it doesn't burn." And I asked Mom, I said, "Do you watch the oven when you cook?" That did not go well. I wasn't being a smart aleck. I had just never seen her do it, so I was curious. Anyhow, so they decided that I was going to sit there and stare at that oven every minute that it took for that thing to bake. And I don't know how long it was. I'm assuming it's 35, 40 minutes just from cooking since then. But they wouldn't let me move. And every time I looked away from it, they would yell at me that I had to sit there and stare at it again. They made it just a miserable, miserable experience. So anyhow, they got bored and they fast forwarded the timer. And they took it out and said, "There you go, you can eat it now." "Oh, no, you can't eat it now. You got to wait for it to cool off." So I had to sit there and look at it, wait for it to cool off. Finally, it was cool, but because they had accelerated the time, it was just a gooey mess. I didn't like it. Anyhow, so then they asked me, "Want an easy bake oven now?" I'm like, no, I don't want an easy bake oven. That was a mistake. I'm sorry. So they made sure that I didn't want an easy bake oven. Now, nobody ever asked me why I wanted an easy bake oven. It wasn't because I wanted to marry a man. Well, it had nothing to do with sexual orientation at all. My friend, who they borrowed that from, made those cakes and cookies and stuff, and while we were playing, we would get to eat them. And I really liked them. And I thought if I had an easy bake oven, I could make them anytime I wanted to. That's why I wanted one. But they made sure that I didn't want an easy bake oven anymore. In fact, they made sure that I never wanted to cook again, even one time ever in my entire life. I hate cooking. I hate everything about it. I don't like it. There's no way you can convince me that cooking is anything but an evil, horrible chore mess that I hate. So, good job. So nowadays, I still don't like to cook. I'm 61 years old. Even the thought of cooking just annoys the crap out of me. Anyhow, that's how an easy bake oven affected the rest of my life. Weird, right? Anyhow, hope y'all have a nice day.